Hey there, this is Liza. If you're anything like me, you're probably the type who always misses a party or overbooks yourself on weekends. In this episode, I'm joined by my amazing friends and fellow time management warriors,
Tammy
and
Lana.
We're diving into the everyday chaos of balancing work, kids' activities, and that elusive thing called me time. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have our repeat guest here,
Lana. Hi.
and
Tammy.
So as you heard in the intro, we are talking about time management and managing time with kids' activities. So guys, my day started at 5 a.m. because I knew this was happening, and Irene, being the woman she is, she packed our day with activities. So I am a big believer of the way that you start your day or the way that you wake up determines the kind of day that you're having.
Oh, absolutely.
So I knew I had to get up. I had to have my coffee, watch the sunrise, meditate, do all that stuff. And then I ran. And then I had to pick up cookies from Frank for the event. Then I had to do some dog walking. Like I literally was walking a dog before I came here.
Oh, wow.
And then I had to get ready for the event. So anyways, let's get to it. My kids don't have activities, so my time management isn't as crazy as your guys's.
Uh-huh.
And funny thing is that when I approached Tammy about doing this episode, we had coffee a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Hey, Tammy, Irene wants me to ask you to talk about time management." And she's like, "Me?"
Like me? I was like, Tammy? Our friend Tammy?
And Tammy was like, "I was late meeting you for coffee, girl." And I was like, "Yeah." So anyway, so I just, and I also want to talk about how we know each other, just in case we have people just barely tuning in now. We know each other because we are all mom friends. Our kids all went to the same elementary school together. We were in the PTA, and we just, have more than a decade of friendship, right?
Yeah.
It's a really good friend. So Lana and Tammy, tell me what your job background is, if you work full time, your kids, and your ages again.
Okay, so this is Tammy. So I'm a development manager. I have 3 kids. Ethan is 15, Emma is 13, and Ella is 6. And I do work full time, but I do work remotely from home.
And what activities do your kids do?
Oh, wow. They're in a lot of activities. My son is in cross country right now. My daughter is in cross country and she does dance. And my youngest daughter is in swim and also does dance.
And they all do church stuff too, right?
Yeah. They do church activities as well. The 2 oldest, they were camp leaders during our church's vocational Bible church camp this past summer.
And how about you, Lana?
So I have 2 boys. Dylan is my oldest. He is 17, almost 18. And then Logan is my youngest, and he's 13. I am currently the director of school operations. I do work full time, so I'm in and out of the office and at each school site. So Dylan is currently playing football, and then he's going to start wrestling next season. Logan's in all sorts of things, whatever I make him do. He has no choice. But currently he's in cross country with Emma. And then next season he'll do wrestling. And then he wants to play flag football again. They don't go to church, but Logan does go to church camp with Emma and Ethan. And he really enjoys it.
He volunteered too as when being a camp leader too
Nice.
with the little kids.
Nice.
Yeah.
And hearing all this just gives me anxiety already alone. So Lana, tell me about your personal journey. Like, can you share your personal journey as a working mom, and how do you manage your time with the boys and all their activities?
So when Dylan started his freshman year, that's when it got really intense with wrestling, because it took up a lot of time, because everyone thinks like wrestling is just a season, but he actually did it year round. So it was like a lot of spending on the weekends with him at his tournaments. Sometimes
Because in between they have to train still, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's off season.
Yeah, even if it's off season. And he was really focused on that his freshman year and sophomore year. But now that he's a senior, I think it's scaled back. And so when he started playing sports, and then, I was working full time. A lot of times it was like after school that I would go to his events, or like on the weekends. So it worked out. And then when Logan started playing sports, sometimes we would have to split up our time. So there were times where Logan had flag football on Fridays, and then Dylan was playing football. So Chung and I would split it up. Like, you go to one child and then I'll go to another, and so forth.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Are your kids usually okay with both of you not being there?
Yes, I think as long as somebody is there, they act like they don't want their parents there, but Dylan is always the kid that will turn around and look for us.
Oh.
Logan, he says that he doesn't care, but when he's made a good play, he'll ask his dad, "Did you see my play?" And I'm like, "Nope, your dad missed it." Yeah, because he's out smoking or something.
Well, for me, so Ava is in a lot of clubs at her school. Like she's in the Filipino club, and Violet does gymnastics, but she just does that once a week. So when she has a lot of her performances, she doesn't tell us because she doesn't want us to go. She's at that age where she's like, "You don't have to go. It's not a big deal." But you know what? I just show up anyways. I find out for myself and I show up. And, and I know she does appreciate it, but I'm like, I don't care. I'm your mom.
Yeah, these
show up
kids,
anyways.
they always act like they don't care, but they do care.
They're going to look back at it because growing up, my parents were always so busy that they really didn't go to any of my events or anything.
Yeah.
And it made me really sad. Like not until I was older and had my own kids that I was like, I wish my parents went,
But it's kind of hard balancing it because I do work full time. And when he first started playing sports, I was at one school. So it's like, it's a set schedule. But now that I'm at the network level, it's a little more flexible so I can move stuff around. And he drives, so it makes it a lot easier. So then,
so nice.
I just meet him at his games. But it's a good thing that Tammy and I have each other because Emma and Logan are in the same sports, or we try to make them in, the same sports. So then we take turns on driving. Yeah. So it helps out.
That's what I love about our mom group is like we all pick each other's kids up. Or we can reach out to each other last minute. Hey, can you pick up Ethan or Emma? But yeah, so Tammy, I know yours is a little bit crazier because you have one extra kid than Lana, right? Yeah. And more things. How about you? How do you manage?
So I think
your time?
It helps with having the support network. So just sitting down with my husband and going over the schedule and saying, okay, these are the dates that the kids have certain, whether it's performances, training, or like a meet. Let's see what we can do to figure it out. And if not, again, it's like, I'm fortunate that my dad lives with us as well. So if it interferes with a certain meet time, like with the kids, the middle schoolers, then I can ask him, "Oh, can you pick up Ella?" Because she doesn't go to after school programs. So the middle school meets are actually right after school normally, like around 3:30, and then she gets off at 3, so it's a little bit hard for me. And then just having like Lana as my support person as well, we can coordinate who can pick up and drop off as well, or we'll meet later. So it's just all coordinating with people that you have in your support system.
Does it help a lot working remotely?
It definitely does. So that's a big factor. And I try to take on more of the task of being there for the kids at their performances or their meets or competitions, because it's easier for me to rearrange my schedule versus Anthony.
So Tammy, what are the biggest challenges you face with time management as a working mom?
So time management wise, I think it's, for me, I'm a busybody. So I do like to cram a lot of things. So even on weekends, if there's like 2 parties going on, I will make a commitment to go to both parties. And my husband doesn't like that. He doesn't like me cramming like our day. Like, as you mentioned, you have a full day because Irene packed your day today and you're going to see how well you do. Yeah. I'm okay with that. I think it just gets a little bit hard when there's conflicting schedules. So it's either same thing what Lana does is figure out which parent can be at a certain location versus the other person, right? Being at the second location. And I think, to your point, when you said when you were growing up, when I was growing up and I was in activities as well, I think our parents' generation back then, they worked a lot. So they didn't have that time to be able to come to all of my activities. And, that did kind of make me sad, and then I go to my kids' activities and I see some parents not there, and it makes me sad that their parents aren't there to see their kids. And there could be they're busy working, but as a kid I wanted my parents there all the time too, but I knew that wasn't gonna happen because they worked a lot of hours when we were growing up.
Yeah.
So when I had my kids, I kind of made that more of my dedication of being there at all of my kids' activities. And I try to, unless there's 2 activities happening at the same time, then we would have to split which parent goes to what. And we do make it work.
Yeah.
So
how about you, Lana? Do you have the same challenges or are yours a little bit different?
So the challenge right now I'm finding is the kids' schedule and my schedule. So like work has been really busy. So it does really help out when I have like that extra person, like Tammy, like she'll offer like, oh, if you drop them off, I'll pick them up, that type of deal. Like I was telling her next Thursday is going to be crazy because I have one kid event and then I have a school event and then I have another kid event. So
like you have a school event for your work?
Yeah, for work.
See, that's
so,
what makes it really hard.
it's challenging and you have to be there. Or for me, I feel like I have to be there for all of them. Right. And so I'm figuring out like, okay, I'll take him there. And then if needed, I'll have Tammy, take him after and then go to the work event. And then after that, go to Dylan's football game. So
this is why we drink a lot.
I know.
This is why we drink alcohol.
Yeah. I know.
Every people outside, when they look at our Instagrams and they're like, damn, these moms drink a lot.
Yes.
No, this is why we drink a lot.
Well, I think it's not just, we do tend to have alcohol come into our social events, but I think it's more of like part of our self-care, right? Yeah. You want to meet with people. And for me, a big thing is I'm a social butterfly. So I like to have my me time. They're like, how you mentioned you woke up at 5. Lana and I, we texted each other, hey, let's do a 3-mile walk.
Yeah.
So we did a 3-mile walk before we came here. And that was kind of like our self-care, right?
Good for you guys. Yeah.
Just.
And like I said, it's the way you start your day, right?
Yeah.
That determines the kind of day that you're going to have for the rest of the day. So Tammy, what time management like strategies or tools have you found the most effective, like in balancing your work?
I think it's just sitting down, especially with the kids and more so with my partner and just going over the schedule and saying, okay, can you do these meets? Or
so
can you
do you use like a Google Calendar? Do you use a paper calendar? What do you use?
My husband doesn't do anything. So I use a paper calendar and I also use a digital calendar for myself, right? But if I send him the invites, he never accepts it. I put it on a paper calendar and it's on our fridge. So he does see it, but I do remind him. I say, hey, enter these dates. I give him the schedule, enter these dates on your own calendar if you want, and I think is what works for him. And most of the time, if it's a weekend event, he always asks me first, like, oh, do we have plans? Because so-and-so wants to do this. He'll refer them to me because he knows that I know our events more than he does.
This is what I do not miss about having a partner because David would be like, I have work today. And I'm like, did you not look at the calendar?
Yeah.
He's like, no.
Yeah.
And, so now we have our own schedules. I'm like, now that we're co-parenting, I'm like, you deal with when you have the kids and I'll deal with when I have the kids. Mm-hmm. So that makes it a lot easier.
Sure.
But yeah.
It does. Yeah, he doesn't. I used to really literally put a Post-it note where he brushes his teeth on the mirror and said, these are the things that we have to do. He just glances at it and then forgets about it.
So do the kids also follow a calendar or do you just tell them or do they just know like when they have their sports activities or activities?
They do. So they're pretty good. They're very dedicated to their sports or whatever activities that they're doing, except for my 6-year-old, right? She doesn't really know time management. She just knows Friday's the day that she does dance, right? Or swim is every other day, right? But for my older kids, they're the ones that are sending me their schedules and they'll put it on their own. But like for like activities such as like weekend activities that doesn't involve sports
or like parties.
Yes, they just say, Mom, what are we doing this weekend? Yeah. And then I'll let them know.
How about you, Lana? Oh, I think you're a little more more organized. You're very computer savvy.
I live off of my Google Calendar.
And this is why you help us.
Yes. So the first thing I wake up, I look at my calendar of what's going on during that week. And my Google Calendar is linked with my family schedule and also my work schedule. So then I'll look at what meetings I have for that week. And I constantly look at my Google Calendar daily because, it's important. But same thing with my husband. He'll accept the invite and then he'll forget. Mm-hmm. And he's like, do we have plans? I'm like, yeah. Just like the other day, I sent him a Google invite every other week, on a Thursday morning to pick up Tammy's kids because she has a meeting at that time.
Oh, no.
And before he walked out the door, don't forget to pick up Emma and Ethan. Guess what? He forgot to pick up Emma and Ethan.
Oh, no. And the day before that, I was like, hey, Trunk, don't forget, you're picking up the kids. And then I'm like, what time do you want my kids to be ready? He's like, yeah, 7:35. So it was pretty funny because then he called me and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I jumped on the freeway. I forgot to pick up your kids. And I was like, don't worry about it. My dad's able to do it.
So he has the audacity to tell me, you need to put a Post-it note every time I have to pick up the kids. I'm like, You know what? If I don't
That's
have
a you problem.
Yeah. If I don't have early meetings, I'm going to pick them up from now on.
No,
Like,
just say Logan. Logan, tell Dad, don't forget to pick up.
yeah. But the
kids.
problem was Logan was on his phone, not paying attention
sure,
either, right?
Yeah. So did you tell Trung that the kids were sitting on the step crying? Because I would have been
No.
giving him a big guilt trip.
He felt really bad. He called and he's like, I'm so sorry. And I said, it's okay. It happens. I mean, it happens, right? It's an unusual type of schedule, right? And it was the first time. It's bi-weekly too. So it's not a weekly thing, right? So I get it. And then, and I'm glad my dad offered to. Because sometimes you kind of get some attitude with my dad. So that's why I don't ask him to do certain things. Because, old people are grumpy.
Yeah, my mom's the same way. She's
and I
like,
don't expect it because, it's not his job to do it, So, yeah, it worked out.
So self-care. So we talked about self-care a little bit. And every time we plan something, when we get together, it's not that easy.
No.
Because we all have different things. We all have busy schedules. And we have a group thread going on. So I sent that kind of Instagram reel about people were like, okay, well, we'll just see you next year then.
Yeah.
How do you fit, because self-care is really important, right? How do you guys fit that in?
So for me, the number one priority is always the kids first, right?
So you'll never cancel any of their stuff?
Yeah, the kids' schedule always come first, and I will make sure that they come first before, my time. I've been really fortunate enough where my family, every time I go home to Orange County, or even my friends here, they've always worked around my schedule. It's like, when are you free? Because your calendar is crazy. So let us know, give us some dates. So it's been that way for so long, and it's always worked out. But I always try to make time for my friends, because that's when I have the me time, right? Away from the family and stuff like that. And it's just for us to hang out, drink and vent and
catch
just
up. Yeah.
And just catch up on life. Yeah. And, I feel like we do it often, but not often enough.
Yeah. How about you, Tammy?
No, I agree with Lana. I think self-care is very important. And obviously the kids' schedule's priority versus ours. And I do, but I'm also very fortunate to have a great partner. He's a homebody. So it's a little bit easier because I can just say, oh, by the way, I'm going to go to this event. You're staying home with the kids. And he's fine with that, And I do a lot of self-care, whether it's hanging out with you guys or my other friends. And I also, at nighttime's my self-care. And it's kind of a bad self-care thing, but I binge watch.
Yeah.
So I'll wait till...
That's not bad.
No,
I mean,
as
it's
long
still
as it's
self-care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wait till the kids, the little ones done bed. 9:00, I start watching my shows. And then sometimes 9:00 can lead to 2:00 in the morning. And then it's like, oh, shoot, I got to get up the next day. And then that's a bad habit. But I've been doing it for so long. And that's what I enjoy, is kind of binge watching my shows.
But
uninterrupted.
Yeah.
And
uninterrupted.
In all honesty, I was telling Trung this a couple weeks ago. I said, Dylan's off to college next year, whether he stays here or he's going somewhere else. Then I just have one kid. But then what happens when he's gone? And my whole busy schedule becomes a lot of downtime where it gives me anxiety. I'm I've been so used to packing my schedule. It's what am I going to do with my life? And he was pick up golf. I was oh yeah.
Pickleball. We can do pickleball.
Pick up something. Yeah. So I'm I'm not looking forward to not being busy, but I'm sure I'll find something.
I think for me, again, I co-parent. So I have my kids, it's 50-50 literally. And it was hard for me to get used to at first because, you have your kids 24/7 to having your kids 50% of the time. So I have a lot of self-care every other weekend.
Yeah, but it's nice.
It's
right?
really
Good
nice. Yeah, it is really, really nice. And I consider myself very lucky to have that time. And David's at that point where we're pretty flexible with each other's schedules now too, where we can swap weekends or he can add a day. So it's really nice.
That's good.
And funny thing about our group is we're that group. Once we get together, we plan a year ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Our inboxes are flooded with invites.
Yes.
That's true.
I got an invite to Dylan's birthday in March.
Well, Lana. Lana's very...
Yeah. I haven't
driven.
sent out the graduation one yet. Yeah. I'm holding off. Yeah.
But that's just how busy we are. We have to plan a year ahead, but it works for all of us.
Yeah. And it's so funny. Liza made a comment. I think it was last Friday where Debbie, Sammy, and I were together at a football game, and then we just started sending out invites, and Liza's here they go again.
Amar, did you guys get together? That's when I know that there's a group together when I get all these invites. So Lana, do you have any advice for any moms who are struggling with time management? Are there any tools or apps that you recommend?
Well, I really think with time management, you really have to utilize some sort of tool, whether it's like, a Google Calendar or like paper calendar or something. Like, make sure you stick with it and like be consistent about it. I think that's the most important part. I think everyone has a different way of managing their time and like using different tools, but I think having some sort of tool is really helpful.
How about you, Tammy?
No, I agree. Having some sort of tool that is helpful that will work for you and your family, right? So you just have to figure out what works best for you and your family.
For me, it's drink a lot of alcohol, do a lot of drugs. No, I'm just kidding. I think moms and dads, find time for yourselves as well.
Yes.
Because you need to be in a, calm state. I feel like your brain needs to be at a peaceful state, and your kids feed off of that.
Yeah.
Like, you're not being selfish by making time for yourself at all. It's very, very important to have that time for yourselves.
I don't think so. And like, if you're in a relationship, I think making the time for your partner as well, like having that
Absolutely.
alone time is important too, because then your kids can see it. Like, oh, our parents are like happy. They're in a happy marriage. Like, these are the things that if we do get married, we want as well, right?
I think it's important too for your kids to see that you have a life outside of them.
Yes.
As well, right?
Yeah.
So honestly, I don't think our kids think different. They know we have a life outside of them.
Yeah, they do, because what was it? Dylan, when he was younger, he was like, when I have kids, I'm just going to drop them off to you like you do with me and Logan. I said, excuse you. Like, I go to all your events and then I have time for me.
Tell Dylan, don't worry, Auntie Tammy will watch the kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Auntie
will watch
Tammy-
any grandchildren.
She had
Of your guys'
volunteer. If our kids have kids,
Yeah.
she'll watch them.
I really just am so thankful and love this mom group that we have, just because we are so supportive of each
Yeah.
other, even though we don't see each other all the time. But when we do, it's like there's no time that has passed between us. And I just want to say that I'm so thankful to have you guys in my life.
Me
No,
too.
really.
Me too.
Honestly, like, even more than friends that I've known forever. Like,
Yeah.
you guys have we've always been there for each other.
Yeah.
So,
and there's no drama. It's just like, if somebody can't make it, we understand. It's not like,
if I can't afford to go to Italy next month,
Yeah.
that's fine, girl. We know.
I wish.
But thank you guys so much for coming on. And,
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
and talking about time management. And Tammy, thank you for being here on time.
Oh, yeah. I rode with Lana.
I also like to add that time management is different for different people. Like, Tammy does make it to her events. Sometimes she won't be on time. But like, I think me and Lana are always the ones that are here either at the events either early or on time.
Yes.
Sure.
But my time management still sucks.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Tammy will always make it if she
I
says she's
will
going to make it.
If I put it on our calendar, I will make it. Even though if I'm double or triple booked, I will be there. It may not be on time, but I will be there.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys. And I hope these tips are very helpful for anyone that's out there struggling with time management. And we will catch you at our next episode.